Now this story, Governor Gavin Newsom once again wading into national politics tonight. He launched an abortion rights billboard campaign in 7 red states where the procedure is either banned or severely restricted.
Newsom also calling on the U.S. Attorney General to investigate the busing of migrants from Texas and Florida. KCAL9 political reporter Tom Wade joins us now with more on the newest jabs from the governor. Tom?
Yeah, lots of heated exchanges tonight between Governor Newsom and the governors of some of these red states. So Newsom taking the abortion rights fight to red state governors and also calling some of his GOP rivals morally reprehensible for their treatment of migrants. Florida's governor is firing back. These are the new billboards Governor Gavin Newsom is paying to put up in red states where abortion is either banned or severely restricted. The billboards sending a clear message that California is a place where women still enjoy their reproductive freedoms.
Clearly, in the forefront of California voters and national voters is reproductive rights.
Newsom's billboards are his latest jab at Republican governors.
Freedom? It's under attack in your state.
Newsom aired this ad in Florida about abortion rights over the 4th of July holiday. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and Ron DeSantis of Florida are among Newsom's most frequent targets.
In a way, people say, why are you picking a fight with DeSantis and Abbott? Why don't you focus on your November opponent? And it's sort of like, well, man, I should pick on someone my own size. I want to talk about the issues. I'm going to pick on someone who's a bully themselves from his perspective.
The billboards come just a few days after Newsom announced the launch of a new state-funded website to help direct women in and outside of California to abortion resources here. Newsom also weighed in Thursday on the issue of GOP governors busing and flying immigrants from the southern border to states and cities led by Democrats. Governor Newsom sent a letter to the U.S. Attorney General asking for an investigation, calling the actions morally reprehensible and may also be illegal. The letter comes as 48 asylum seekers, mainly from Venezuela, landed in Martha's Vineyard aboard 2 planes from Texas. The flights were actually organized by Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Officials on the island of Martha's Vineyard said they had almost no notice of the arrivals, and the migrants didn't know where they were going. They told me there was a work opportunity, he says. We were going to a city, but we ended up staying here. The locals in Martha's Vineyard stepped up to help those who were left here. Meanwhile, Governor Ron DeSantis defended the flights, paid through a $12 million tax-funded initiative.
All those people in D.C. and New York were beating their chests when Trump was president, saying they were so proud to be sanctuary jurisdictions, saying how bad it was to have a secure border. The minute even a small fraction of what those border towns deal with every day is brought to their front door, they all of a sudden go berserk, and they're so upset that this is happening. And it just shows you, their virtue signaling is a fraud.
What Abbott and DeSantis and even in Arizona, what they are doing is communicating to their base who they are. Unlike Newsom, who's just using financial resources, these governors in Florida, Texas, and Arizona are manipulating people, are taking advantage of the poorest and the most depossessed people that we have in America and utilizing them as political pawns.
We reached out to Newsom's GOP opponent in the governor's race to talk about abortion rights and the treatment of migrants. A spokesperson for State Senator Brian Daley said he was not available. I'm Tom Waite. Back to you.